Mark Rutte sitting there and saying nothing, watching Trump bash allies, reiterate his threats against Greenland. But I'm also thinking of the very strong focus on expenditure numbers with less talk of a positive vision of how to spend that money, how this will translate into real military capabilities. But also, again, this placating of Donald Trump, it seems that a lot of this was, again, aimed at avoiding possible negative futures rather than building a shared positive one. And I'm wondering what your thoughts were watching the summit play out.
The summit was very much focused, continues to be very much focused on allied cohesion, keep the Americans in, get everybody else on the same level. What I find a bit sad is that, of course, it's normal that Donald Trump captures a lot of the public imagination and attention, but there's also a lot of other things happening. Yes, we have all this investment in defense that creates also jobs. It creates more security, which then helps stabilize the economy, because the economy, people don't invest when they think there's a war around the corner. So I'm not saying, you could spin this in a positive way, because ultimately the best case scenario would be that we get along with Russia and we don't have to be afraid of it. That's the best case scenario. Unfortunately, at the moment, that's not within reach. What's the second best case scenario is, that we deter Russia from doing anything stupid and that we actually continue to live in peace. But even within that story, you're right, there's plenty of, I think, very interesting stories. And I was just on a podcast the other week, and I mentioned that cohesion on defense spending, to me, is one of the good things that I saw this year so far. And my interlocutor said, well, isn't it rather bad news that we have to spend so much on defense? Well, yes, but it would be even worse if we didn't have consensus that this is what we have to do. So I think this is definitely not an easy time. So from that point of view, I think the summit, at least from within NATO, it is read as actually it went rather well, in that we had you mentioned Greenland, but Trump also said he wouldn't do anything. He managed to simultaneously threaten and encourage allies. What I've seen also is that behind the scenes, outside the press, mood was rather good, actually. So I think, is it great? No, but it's clearly not as bad as some people think it is.